What if becoming wealthy had less to do with how much money you make and instead to do with how you manage it? According to the National Study of Millionaires, nearly 70% of millionaires never averaged a six-figure income during their entire career. Instead, they built their wealth based on consistent budgeting, saving, and financial discipline.
Welcome to the Spending Strategy Podcast. Whether you're in college, starting your first job, or just trying to get a hold of your finances, we are here to help you get the foundation from the ground up. My name is Bianca Sanchez, an incoming junior at SMU's Cox School of Business.
And my name is Ryan Turheen. I'm an incoming junior studying finance at Auburn University. This summer, we are here in Dallas, Texas, working with Quotient Wealth Partners as interns for the summer, and we are just beginning to wrap up our very first week here.
While we've only been here for about a week now, we've already had a significant shift in how we view our budgeting.
So the next question is, what exactly is budgeting and where do I start?
Budgeting is the process of creating a plan for how you budget, save, and spend your money.
Overall, I think kind of the key to budgeting is finding a good balance for yourself and also what's comfortable for you, but also going towards your financial goals. A big misconception about budgeting is that it limits people from spending things on what they want and that it's only for adults. But I would say starting early is one of the best things you can do, not only for yourself, but maybe your future family. And also, I think while it feels restrictive and it's not fun telling yourself no, budgeting sort of allocates your money to things you only really want and really want to dedicate your money to, instead of later regretting an unnecessary purchase that just was like silly impulse moment. Budgeting is making smart decisions so you can create opportunities, reduce financial stress, and build a future foundation for success.
Got it. And Ryan, how did you start budgeting?
I sort of first started budgeting by literally getting out my my banking app on my phone and a notebook. And at the end of every week, I would just compare I would literally write down every single expense. And then that really helped me identify my own spending patterns and also where I've overspent and where I maybe need to adjust my budget for the next week. And it's sort of scary at first to like look at all you've spent, especially when you know you've gone over your budget, but it's so helpful and it teaches you so much about your own habits. And what do you want to tell me a little bit more about your budgeting strategy?
So that's definitely a great starting point. I also started with something similar. I would print out my actual debit card statement and get different highlighters and kind of highlight the different categories. But now I've shifted into just using my credit card statement. So it's one, building my credit, and two, it already gives me the categorized money that I've spent. So how much on shopping, eating out. It tells you like bills and necessities kind of. Mm-hmm. And it's a really great starting point to see where you need to cut back on. And most times it also will compare it to like the past few months, or if there's been an increase in one thing. It's really easy to identify when it shows you like the wheel of everything.
Yeah, mine also has like a little pie chart and it'll give you like chunks of everything you spent. It also sort of shows you like what you've brought in versus what you spent. So you can see if you've gone like you spent more than your income or like less than your income. It's really helpful, honestly. The banking apps are like, they're so easily accessible. Like I would recommend that to anyone if you don't have it. I'm sure everyone does, but I don't know.
Really taking advantage of those platforms and their new like
updates.
Yes,
for sure. And we know it's sort of just a lot of information to just be like, oh, go start budgeting. But we've actually set up a guideline that we not only have used, but also that we think could work for everyone else. So do you want to get into the first steps of that?
Yes, the first step would be to start tracking your spending, track what you're buying and where your money is coming from. You can't change something that you don't know. Yeah,
for sure. And along with tracking your money, identifying which is your needs expenses, which are things like rent, groceries, gas, utilities, all of those, and your wants expenses, which are like gym and workout memberships, your eating out costs, like getting a coffee costs, like shopping. And I think just for every expense, like we're both very like old school, like we like pen and paper. And so I think just writing like an N or a W next to it, or even on your notes app, just typing in something next to it, like that kind of helps you categorize it in your mind and seeing like if there's a misbalance somewhere.
Yeah. And talking about pen and paper, the third point would be to write your financial goals.
Yeah.
I personally like to just get a sticky note and write down some goals that I have and put them at the very beginning. So every time I'm going in for the day, I just go by it. But then it also gives you kind of something to work towards. And like, I'm not just saving to save, although it is going to help you in the future. You can also have short-term like goals. I personally am going to have my regular savings account, but then something for the end just to splurge on.
Yeah, like I think it's almost like a treat yourself moment. Like I know a lot of people save up for like spring break trips or like studying abroad. Like that's huge in college. Like people put away money for that like early on so that at the end like you don't have to worry about it like tanking your bank account because you've already prepared for that. And I think even just like something fun, like I want like AirPod Maxes, like hopefully I can get that at the end of summer because I'm going to be putting money away and I won't. It almost like makes you feel more proud of yourself for getting it because it's like you work
hitting
towards
those
it.
goals.
Yeah, everyone loves goals.
Yeah.
And I think along with those three things, I think the next thing is like we kind of have a sort of rule to follow that's really good for budgeting is the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule is a simple way to divide your income into three categories. So basically 50% of your income will go to your needs expenses and then 30% towards your wants and the rest, the 20%, to your savings or a debt repayment. So for example, if you get $1,000 a month, 500 of that will go to your needs, 300 to your wants, and the last 200 to savings or debt repayment. And obviously not everyone gets a clean, even number. And I think calculating after tax income too, like there's a lot of resources online. I personally use NerdWallet even just for this quick little calculation, just to double check. And I know there's so much more out there and it's literally so easy to go and just like calculate that stuff now. I think also considering that while this is a rule that we recommend, it's not like rigid. Like the 50-30-20, sometimes it's not always going to be 50-30-20. Like gas is really high right now. You might need to allocate more to that. Or like I know there's like groceries have gotten really expensive. Like it's adjusting it to your time and also like current events.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with the percentages, and something that actually worked really well for me while I was working almost full time in high school was saving 50% of all of my paychecks, because at that point I didn't have any bills. I didn't have school to pay for. I didn't really have to get groceries.
Yeah.
So just knowing that I had the space and I was allowed to just save all that money, and it building that habit then and starting it really carried forward, because even when I did start having to pay bills and other things, I already had the sense of I need to pay myself first.
Yeah.
After the bills, but I need to pay myself savings, and then from there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just like if you're, I think sticking to the rule is helpful in the sense of you don't want to be docking down your savings to go into your want expenses. Like you want to be keeping those separate. So like it's a strict rule to follow, but it also like you can adjust it when needed. And as also using percentages instead of like just straight amounts, I think that really helps with like as your income grows, like those percentages, obviously they stay the same, but like the categories grow with it. But versus like if my income was $1,000, so I put 200 away, but then it grew to $3,000, like that 200 isn't equal to the 3,000 I now have. So it's like kind of, I think using percentages is very helpful, and like setting up auto pay, like something like that is like just so helpful.
As soon as you receive the money, it just goes, you don't even have to look at it.
Yeah. So just reviewing, track, identify, set your goals, 50-30-20, and then review and revise if needed. And so now that we have some of those basic guidelines down, let's talk about some saving statistics in the U.S.
Yeah, so on our very first day here at Quotient Wealth Partners, we had the ability to go through a presentation with one of our wealth advisors, Lauren Britt, and she's shared some statistics that really jump-started our idea of this podcast and that we want to go through. So Ryan, do you want to start with the first?
Yes, the first one. While recommended savings rate is 10 to 20% of your gross income, the average American only puts away 4% in their savings, which is a very big gap.
And that also shows in retirement, because the average American is recommended to have about $1 million at time of retirement, but the average American is retiring with $250,000, which is a significant $750,000 difference.
Yeah, and continuing on with retirement, 63% of people feel like they aren't on track to retire. But the funny thing is, when Lauren gave this presentation in 2023, that number was only 57%. So we definitely see a trend moving in the wrong direction. I think that's something we both want to sort of address and try to fix, like especially with young people, because instilling these practices now can only help them in the future.
Yes, and really seeing these statistics laid out showed the need for financial literacy and understanding financial planning and all of that. And a great place to start for young adults like ourselves is a Roth IRA that Ryan will tell us about.
So a Roth IRA is a retirement savings account that you invest with money you've already paid taxes in. So as that investment grows throughout the years, when you withdraw it in retirement, it is totally tax-free. Now, there are some limitations to it. So the 2026 contribution limit was only $7,500. But to put that into perspective, $7,500 contribution, putting in a $7,500 contribution when you were 21 could grow into $300,000 when you're 60. Obviously varying with interest rates in different banks, but that just really goes to show like the earlier you start, the better.
Exactly. Even that small amount can contribute to a larger amount in the future. Lauren also took it a step further and told us about the 3-bucket spending strategy, which I found really insightful. And what this means is bucket 1 would be the money that you need to access within 12 to 15 months. So this is like your emergency fund in case your car breaks down, something like similar to that. Bucket 2 would be money you need within 5 years. This could be saving for a car, saving for a trip you want to go on. And the last budget is where a Roth IRA lives, which is 10 plus years. And this is more for like the long term. The whole idea is that your money shouldn't all be sitting in one place. And this strategy is a great way to see that.
Now that we've sort of gone through some basics of budgeting, let's talk about some real life examples and why this is relevant to us now. So as y'all know, we are both college students, and Auburn and Dallas are definitely very different cities, but I think we both face similar challenges when it comes to spending, like eating out, shopping, game days, everyday expenses. Like it's really easy to lose track of where your money is going. And I think it's just very important to stay focused and intentional with your spending. So Bianca, tell me a little bit more about what saving and spending looks like in a big city like Dallas.
Living in a larger city definitely makes it harder to be intentional with your budget. There's a lot more opportunity to spend more, whether that's ride sharing, eating out, even Uber Eats,
Sure.
shopping. I know there's some major malls around. And feeling like you need to even keep up with like trends can get very costly.
Yes, for sure. And although Auburn's like a small college town, I think we definitely face similar challenges when it comes to that. Like I know food is a really big spending category for a lot of people, and like just like late night grabbing coffees before class, like as simple as that, or like buying, like eating out with friends, late night Uber Eats, like all that stuff seems like small purchases in the moment, but when you add up it at the end of the month, like it really puts a dent in your budget.
Yes, those $10 to $15 weekly will definitely crush your eating budget.
Yeah, for sure. And then even besides food, like college comes with, and being a young adult comes with so many events and game days that come with big outfits and all these crazy, like Auburn especially, we have a really big football culture. And now instead of wearing like athleisure games, I think it's shifted to like maxi sundresses and like these cute little sets, and like all that is just so tempting to want to buy an outfit for every single event when you're realistically probably going to wear it one time, maybe less, or maybe not even at all, but it's something very hard that's to navigate.
Yes, and we actually have a very similar thing at SMU called the Boulevard, which you will also see the same thing as you're not going dressed in your typical athleisure sets to a sports game. It's more of a full outfit. You want to wear something different every time. Yeah. So just being aware of those habits and being able to not kind of fall into it when you shouldn't is very important and definitely the first step.
So now let's talk about some simple swaps I know have worked for both of us and that maybe could work for you.
So 2 areas where I've really been able to adjust my spending have been coffee and food. As we all talked about in the office as interns, that is where our money is going. But I personally, and I know Grace herself also did the same thing. We invested in espresso machines, and this has saved me a lot of money because I'm now making my coffee at home, which is minimum like $10 saved, because coffee culture in Dallas is real. There's coffee shops everywhere, and like you want to try all of them, but
they each cost really, $15. Like.
Yes, it will add up very fast. And food, I know you mentioned that there's a lot more recipes online.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking, and it's like I think us as interns, we kind of noticed like we all sort of started meal prepping now for like we all put our little like Tupperware in the fridge, but I think with social media there's been a big wellness push, and I think people like have started to post recipes that are not only healthy but also very affordable and that can work for the average college student. And like I think it's a lie to say you're never going to crave fast food again, but like I've seen so many creators come up with like copycat recipes for. And then also just sort of moving towards my previous example about like all the clothing and like events in college. There's definitely one thing that has been really huge for me and making the switch from having to buy like 1,000 different things is using rental services. So I use Nuuly, which is like a clothing rental service. So basically I pay a subscription and get 6 new pieces of clothing a month, and it like reships every single month, and I get to like trade and swap out. And it's like been a real game changer for me.
So one of the alternatives that I found with clothing is looking at the materials of the clothing that I was buying before. A lot of the times you're only paying the premium price for the brand name and not actually the quality of the clothes. So looking specifically for the quality has helped me save money because you can find online storefronts like Amazon that sell way better clothes for a fraction of the price. And along with that is student discounts. I know a lot of times like some students just completely miss them, but you can find them for clothing, for workout studios, and subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, all of that streaming service.
They really are everywhere.
Yes, and so I know you mentioned you got a student discount for...
Yeah, I actually got one for Nuuly, and I know there's other rentals places like Fashion Pass or Rent the Runway. I'm sure they have some too. And it's also like looking at like holiday discounts too, like just like Memorial Day sales. And actually my school has like they did a collab, not a collab, but like they did something with Uber where on certain times of the week, like it'll like discount it for us. And it's like making sure you sign up for those things and using your student email for stuff. Like, and I'm as an out-of-state student, like I know there's a bunch of travel discounts that I can get with my student email and ID. And it's really just like, it takes a little bit of research, but so many places do it that like you would never even imagine. Like Target, like beginning of the year, moving back in, they offer like a crazy sale on so much stuff.
And it's like on groceries too.
Yeah.
Like any one purchase.
It's really like, if you look for it, I'm sure it's there. And like, I'm sure it will save you like, cause like maybe 10% off doesn't sound that crazy, but when you like add that up over time, it is like so amazing. And it just really saves you so much money. So I think the bigger question is like, why does this all matter? Why would saving $10 for a purchase even help me in the long run?
Yeah, so every dollar you save today can work for you tomorrow. And here at Quotient, we believe that financial wellness is about aligning your money with the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, and I think a big part, it's not about restrictions. It's about being intentional, building space in your budget for things you want without going completely overboard.
Yes, and the habits you build now are the ones that will carry with you. As I mentioned, whenever I started really early in high school, and now I know immediately as soon as my check hits, I need to save it. It feels natural now, but definitely a starting point.
Yeah, and for sure, Quotient's whole mission is helping people live their best financial lives. So that journey kind of starts with what we talked about today, like the budget, the small swaps, the awareness. That's literally the foundation of financial planning and financial literacy. Before we close out, let's leave you with 3 things to take away today.
First, it all starts with awareness. You can't change with what you don't know.
Second, make a plan and identify your goals. Whether it's paying off debt, building an emergency fund, saving for something big, your budget should have a purpose behind it.
And third, start swapping and start saving.
Awareness, a plan, and better habits. That's all it takes to get started and something you can do today. That's a wrap on today's episode of The Spending Strategy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope this gave you a real honest look at why budgeting matters and for young adults and how to actually get started.
If this podcast resonated with you or someone you may know, make sure to send it to them.
We are Ryan and Bianca, 2 college students figuring it out just like you, with the guidance of our team here at Quotient Wealth Partners.
To learn more about Quotient Wealth, go to quotientwealth.com.
Until next time, spend smart, save smarter.